Yeah, I want to go again. Literally, childhood dreams just come true. So, welcome back to another episode of the Let's Chat Derbyshire podcast. Today, I'm joined by Mark.
Hi everyone.
And we are, I better get a camera around. And we are going to go for a ride in his Granbohgini. So, I cannot wait to tell you all about this. It is just such an amazing idea, such an amazing initiative. What a car to be going out in as well. 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds, I think. V10. It's just, I am so excited. So yeah, we're going to hop in, go out for a ride, and you'll be able to hear all about it. Yes, welcome back. We are now, out for a little drive. I'm living my absolute childhood dream. And yeah, we're joined by Mark. So Mark, how are you doing out of 10 today?
Do you know, that's a great question. I would probably say I'm feeling like an 8 or 9.
That's
mainly
solid.
Because
Yeah,
I'm in the car and I'm out with with great people. It's been a good day, but there's always room for improvement.
yeah,
as well.
definitely. No, that's really, really strong, that. And yeah, like we were just saying, I think just asking people how they're doing out of 10 can really help just sort of, ground us and just have that bit of reflection space, I think, to just check in on how we're doing. So we'll just start off with an introduction, I guess, a bit about yourself and how you came about starting Granbohgini and where it all started.
Yeah, sure. So I guess my world changed back in 2021, but this, where we are today all started from a promise.
Yeah.
So it was a promise to my grandmother that one day I will take her out in a Lamborghini for a fun day out. Neither of us ever took ourselves too seriously, and I just thought, what a fun way to spend the day with my grandmother.
Yeah.
And sadly, I wasn't able to keep that promise because, like I say, back in 2021, she took her own life. And for us, this was, a harrowing time. And I think you spend so much time trying to understand the root causes, the why. She was incredibly isolated and lonely at the end of COVID. And I understand that must have been such a struggle for her. But did the camera, is it alright? Sorry, I've messed up that.
No, it should be alright. No, keep going, that's fine.
So at the end of COVID, she really struggled with the isolation, the loneliness, the loss of purpose and connection.
Yeah.
And for I would say 18 months to 2 years after her passing, I was forever trying to figure out a route to prevent people from feeling the same way.
Must have been really tricky, I guess. It sounds like you had such a close relationship with her. For that to happen, it's just life altering, isn't it? I think. Were there, I guess, any signs, when you were doing that thinking back and stuff? Was there anything that you did think, I did spot that sort of, or is it, I guess, more like you were saying, just around that general, isolation, coming out of COVID and all stuff like that?
No, I think forensically, when you kind of look back and explore, there were lots of signs actually.
Yeah.
And some aren't necessarily obvious, but in retrospect, they seem more obvious.
Yeah.
But we found, and this is, why now the journeys, I try and have really deep and meaningful conversations that are a little bit awkward because I think that's really where you get to the root of conversation.
Completely, yeah.
And so, even down to, I remember going round sort of just after COVID, and it was 2:00 in the afternoon and she was still in the pajamas, and I remember thinking, oh Nan, why aren't you dressed? And and I remember her words now, and it was, well, there's no reason to get dressed.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, come on, we'll go to the shop, we'll get you out, or whatever it might be. But you don't really think too much into that.
No.
And wrongly so. And this is, why I have this bold message and this bold action, because I believe that we need to be aware of those signs. And all of that comes through, really like tough conversations. But I think my genuine thesis on life as a whole is people need purpose and people need connection.
Yeah.
And you end up being a product of your environment.
Yeah.
So for my grandmother's situation, she was very much in the position where her environment was 12 hours sat behind the TV watching the news by herself.
Yeah.
And of course, if you spend that long there, the world looks like it's going to end.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really tricky, like you were just saying then, when you look back and stuff, and there are those signs, and I think that's why those difficult conversations that don't have to be difficult, it is, like you just said, oh no, come on, let's get out, let's go and do something. It can really break that moment in time for someone. And the more we ask those questions, the more we check in, I think it's easier to start noticing those signs more. What gave you that energy? Obviously, it was your nan to make this dream sort of come true after, what tragically sort of happened.
Yeah, firstly, honestly, I just genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity today to talk about it. I love being around interesting people doing exciting things, and what you're trying to do by raising as much awareness about this means so much to me. So,
thank you. Honestly, it's an honour having you on. I think without people like you, there wouldn't have been none of this, and I think that's why it's so important to be able to share those messages, because people just don't hear about it if not. And I think we've all got a voice. We've all been through our own sort of journeys, haven't we? And that's why it's so important to share them.
Absolutely.
Because others can learn from it, and hopefully, prevent other people from taking their own life by learning, those small bits that can be life-saving, really.
Without a doubt, yeah. And I guess, so going back to your point, it must have been sort of just over a couple of years ago now, where it was honestly I kind of came back to that promise that I started out with my grandmother, where I thought, actually, is there a way in the world where I can keep that promise with people who are in a similar position to where she was, to prevent them from being in a place where she is now? And then the name was genuinely just a daft idea, and I think all good things can kind of come from something a bit silly. And like I say, I like the idea of being a bit provocative, having a really bold mission and message, because I think it's important. But in the world that we live in, I also realise that you need to do something loud and bold and visible that catches people's attention, because without it, you could have the most beautiful message in the world if it doesn't get to anybody. And I just, as soon as I kind of mentioned Granbohgini, I just laughed, and I thought she would love that. And I kind of fell in love with it, and I thought, actually, I can imagine, I sort of mentioned it to a few of my friends. They all burst into laughter, and they were like, "You should definitely do this. This is such a great idea." So that's kind of where the name.
It sounds like your dad had such a good personality as well. I guess, is that what was a bit of a driver as well, to sort of honour her as well with something that is a bit fun and out there? Because she sounds like such a great person to be able to carry that on with.
And that's such a nice question. I think, without a shadow of a doubt, her kind of influence. So the reason why, I saw the person she was, and I remember that from a really young age. She wouldn't pull any punches with her words. She viscerally understood what she wanted. And she wasn't afraid to say that, and I loved that about her. She was passionate. Wow. She enjoyed life. But to watch that gradually disappear, and that was where it was almost not as obvious to see, but it was a bit of a gradual over maybe a year's time to watch that person disappear. And losing my granddad, that was a big one for her, because that was her route
really
to
difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it was her. He was the driver in the family, so she lost a lot of independence through that. But in that moment, it was. I just wanted to feel a little bit closer to her. So there was. I spent a lot of time with her. Oh, I'm so sorry, mate.
No, it's alright, don't worry.
I spent a lot of time with her. So I spent a lot of time with her, but I realised we'd go and talk about butterflies and lions and things that she loved, but I never really understood a lot about her.
Yeah, I think that's so true, actually. That's such a crucial point, isn't it? I think when you do speak to people, even your friends, I think sometimes it is very, I guess, just low level, just conversation, isn't it? There's not always that depth to the conversations to sort of find out that someone may be struggling or sort of what they're going through. Yeah, it's so important.
No, I can't agree more. I think I look back and the amount of times we'd talk about, topics on the news or things that we've both seen, or, like what did we have for dinner, or like you say, very surface level, which was great because it was nice to spend time. But what I realised was, like, I had no idea where she was born. I had no idea where she was in the military. Like, like, tell me all about those days. And actually, just the question of, no, actually, how are you?
Yeah. How is it? How are you really doing with everything that's going on?
You didn't leave the house for a year. Like, what impact has that had? And it's okay to talk about. And that was if I could go back, and I would ask the most brutal questions. To get to a point of meaningful conversation by any which way, because I genuinely think that, if I'd have turned up in a Lamborghini like a week before, I don't think that would have changed. But if we could have got somebody out of their comfort zone, had challenging questions or at least meaningful questions, conversations, but then did it in the most exciting way, which is what I'm trying to do.
I think it breaks the, I guess, tension as well. Like being sat here, we're sat side by side, mainly looking forwards, and I think it's a lot easier to talk like that. Whereas sometimes, if you sat face to face with someone trying to have those deep conversations, it can be a barrier. I think it can be really difficult for people to open up. So like you said, doing those small questions over time that can be quite hard to ask. They're quite scary, I think, because you don't know what the person's going to say to you back, and it's sometimes I think people get scared to ask those questions because you don't have the answers. If someone turns around and goes, I'm feeling like I want to take my own life, we're not always equipped, are we, to be able to respond. But just letting that person know that you're there for them, that you'll try and get them some support and stuff, that's enough to help them through that. And a lot of times just opening up, I think, can be life-saving in itself.
I couldn't agree more. I think I read this incredible statement a few weeks back, and it said how instead of asking somebody necessarily in that moment, I'm always here for you, or I'll always be here for you. If you need anything, just let me know. Like, has there ever been a time when you've actually let them know? When somebody asked me that, I was always like, no, you're fine. Nobody. Whereas what this comment was saying was, actually, just go do the thing that you think that they would like anyway. What's stopping you from just sending them a card saying, I'm here thinking of you, I love you, like, you mean so much to me. It doesn't have to be the birthday. It doesn't have to be any reason for it. But it's if you are worried about it, there are little things that you can do. It's like just turn up, go out for a cup of tea. It doesn't have to be an agenda.
100%.
But I think what we rely on, or where that statement specifically mentioned, was what you're doing by saying to them, I'm here if you need anything. Puts the onus on them. So then they have to be really, really bold when they're not feeling strong anyway. To then go out of their comfort zone and go, I need help. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do.
I think that's so true, isn't it? And like you said, it's so small things, isn't it? Going around for a cup of tea, asking if you want to go for a walk, just anything like that can just help, create that conversation, isn't it? Really. When Granbohgini first started, I can't believe how quickly it's grown, to be fair, but those initial few months, when you were getting into it and stuff, what was it like for you? Because on one side, it's something really exciting, really amazing. But on the other side, it's really sad, isn't it? Because you're really only doing it because you lost your nan in such a horrible way, really. How was it for you, I guess, processing all of that? Did it help process the grief and work through it? What was it like?
I mean, it definitely gave me... So I think in my mind, I wanted to change the narrative of this bad thing happening. And I wanted to see if there's a world in a way where I could actually make this feel like it's the gift that she left me to go and impact other people like her in the most amazing way. So that definitely helped. But honestly, being completely transparent about everything, I think it's been a really tough journey. It's brought up a lot of emotions around my grandmother. I had people who we've interviewed who looked like her, who reminded me of her, and people like my granddad as well. And so that was incredibly emotive, but it made me realise that there's a reason to all of this continually. And so, whilst it gave me a forum as therapy, I think at the time, because it felt like I had a purpose.
Yeah.
I found my purpose when this happened. So that was a beautiful kind of narrative I was sort of telling myself. But at times, it gets really tough. Sometimes I feel like the weight of the world's on my shoulders when we have media, people reaching out from all over the globe, and now, because of, I guess, where we've got to from a social point, which is I never imagined we'd be here. We have people in Australia, New Zealand, Belgium, the US, Canada, reaching out to say, like, can you help here? And that's a lot. To carry. It's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
Wow. And sorry.
No. I was just saying it's really tricky, isn't it? I think because you're dealing with the grief, and I don't think the grief will ever pass. You know, when I've spoken to other people that have been bereaved by suicide, it's never passed. But I think you're able to cope with it in a different way. But I guess for you are still being reminded of it in a lovely way for other people. But like you said, it can bring up some challenging emotions, I guess, at times.
Yeah.
What's helped you get through it? Has it been doing this, or has there been anything else that sort of, helped you?
Oh, I mean, I'm genuinely blessed. I've got the most amazing supporting network.
Wow.
My wife and kids, and my mum and family, the best of friends. So I'm blessed to have such a really, really great support network. So that there's no doubt in the toughest times they've been by my side, which has been beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
But I realised, I'm very fortunate in that position.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who aren't, but certainly from, I guess, a exposure to the reality of what I stand for.
Yeah.
Being in a car with somebody is like the most beautiful thing. I love seeing people's faces when the lights up. Even when we're at traffic lights and the kids are screaming, I'm like, get a picture, jump in. I don't care. Wow. It's like this tool is here to bring joy, and I want people to see that. Not, it's a toy. It's like, can we have such a positive impact with that? But I'm genuinely intrigued with every single person that I meet now, because I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, what amazing stories did my grandmother have that I never found out? So now I try and really understand about them. And I think that just creates, again, a really nice connection.
I think that's so beautiful. I guess just thinking around sort of the Granbohgini messages and everything it's trying to achieve for people that are listening. If you won't mind, giving a bit of context around sort of Granbohgini and those messages and bits you've been up to.
Sure, yeah. So, like I say, when we started a few years ago, I never ever anticipated it would be anything more than me in a car once a month. I was hiring the cars, and it just be that. That I try and help as many people as I can a year. We, and the ripple effect of maybe we can create some great media that makes people laugh and smile and inspires others to get out of the house. That was always the the kind of antithesis of what we're trying to achieve. And now what we are is I've sunk a life savings in to get the car with a group of friends and family, and so as a whole, what we do is we try and pull people out of situations where they may go down the wrong route. And we try and do that in the most exciting ways through taking people out in supercars. So it's not your everyday approach to solving problems, but I love it. And I having done this now for a number of years and seeing the immediate impact, but also the ripple effect of them feeling more inspired to go out and do things afterwards.
Oh wow!
To speaking to family members, to kind of, I guess, just getting out of that comfort zone and trying new things, and that's been the most rewarding feedback loop that we could have ever asked for.
It's so, I guess, multifaceted as well in a way. At the end of the day, it's probably one of the best marketing products ever, isn't it? You can't not look at it. You take away that message. It's bright pink. It's but like you said, underneath it, it's generally helping people. And when you look at some of the videos, I'll pop a link in the description actually to like your Instagram and stuff. I think you can see how much it does help those people. Just in that like 20-second snapshot, I think it takes them back. It gives them purpose. It makes them feel valued. It's just so beautiful, I think, to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it must just be while you're having those conversations with them, just so lovely. I think to give them the opportunity to feel like a human again. I think at times people, especially the elderly, it's like, what's next? You know, they've done everything, haven't they, and stuff, and it's, you know, and this gives them, I guess, just that snippet of life again to feel like a kid.
Yeah.
In a way, isn't it?
No, and I genuinely believe that, Luke. I think it doesn't matter what your age. Everybody's got that inner child where they're bursting to get them to come out. And you know, what I've found with every single person that we've ever taken out for a joyride has been, my mind feels like I'm 20, but my body feels like I'm 80.
Yeah.
And so, yes, of course, I still want to do these things, but a lot of it is like, you know, physical limitations.
Yeah.
And they understand that. And obviously, you know, if some people aren't able to get in the car, that's okay too. That doesn't stop us being able to support them or, you know, do something in some way, shape, or form. But at the same time, I'm very much of the opinion of, you know, push yourself, get outside of that comfort zone. You know, talk to a stranger, say hello, like have a cup of tea with your neighbour. And for me, because life is, you know, is enjoyable when you're around people.
Yeah, and that's so true, isn't it? And I think it's that undertone of just being kind to each other as well, isn't it? Like you were saying, you know, checking in with your neighbour, meeting them for a cuppa, and it's just stuff like that, isn't it? That brings that humanity back to what can be quite a horrible time for people. I think, that's amazing. So as it's grown, as it's developed, you know, you've got Granbohgini, which is this, isn't it? But it's also, I guess, gone wider now into the joyrides where, like you were saying, you know, you've had so many requests, haven't you, across the globe. How did it sort of evolve to that, and what's that looking like for the future?
Yeah, it's been, honestly, the most challenging 6 months of my entire life. And if you could take a screenshot or a snapshot of me now versus 6 months ago, I'm very close to being able to drive myself around. But yeah, you know, the long nights and evenings and everything are all starting to pay off. I think it's one of those where it really, really bothered me when somebody took the time, effort, and energy to reach out from, you know, Australia or somewhere in Europe, or, you know, even kind of, you know, Canada and the US, and I thought there must be a way in which that we can get them. And obviously, after kind of initially looking into shipping costs for the car, I thought this is utterly insane.
Yeah, this is madness.
So I guess from a Granbohgini point of view, I kind of see that as, this is the car, this is our mascot, this is the reason why we exist. The Granbohgini was me being able to take this bad thing, turn it into something good, and hopefully when people see this, it just brings a smile to their face, and they realise like why, you know, what I stand for, and that's evolved into what is going to, or is now, Joyriders. So the idea behind this was, you know, you're never too old to be a joyrider, and actually we can scale our operations to other supercar owners who want to get involved. So we had a lot of supercar owners who reached out to us and said, look, we'd love to support in any way we can. And the example I used earlier, we had this amazing lady in LA who reached out, and we had somebody in LA who reached out who had a car. And in that moment, I just thought, well, that's a match made in heaven. Why can't we just facilitate the link up between these? So the premise, I guess, and the idea behind Joyriders is we want to be the largest supercar community, all for people struggling with mental health, you know, all for good. And you know, no one will ever pay for a joyride. The drivers that get involved are, you know, that we've all spoke to, never want to be able to do anything from a financial point, and we want to give people the opportunity to then, off the back of that, donate to charity, a chosen charity, if they want to as well, as a kind of, you know, paying it forward in time, really. So that's the kind of wild aspiration, but that makes me really excited, because what I would absolutely love more than anything is if we can hit 1 million joyrides globally. I just love this idea of setting such an aspirational target. If I carry on the way at my current trajectory, that's going to take me 1,375 years. So I really, really need help on that mission. But I like a challenge.
That's amazing. I just love how it's great. You know, we met a few months ago, and I think just even in these last few months, things have grown at such a rate, haven't they? And what an opportunity, I think, for other people in a fortunate position to have a supercar, to be able to have those special moments with people.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be so special. I guess for people, you know, like your nan, you know, that might have been, you know, maybe struggling, what do you want them to sort of feel? I guess, you know, what do you want them to take away from these moments in the supercars?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, that's such a great question, Luke. I think I genuinely want people to realise that life can be exciting. That getting out of your comfort zone, being uncomfortable, can lead to incredible things. So and that might be an uncomfortable conversation that actually you would love to say to your daughter, please come round more often. Yeah. Or I'd love you to pop in next week. Yeah. But you don't want to put burden on them. But both people in that scenario would love that message. Yeah. And yes, it feels awkward, and yes, it feels uncomfortable. But that's so we have, like, you know, these conversations in the car. I want people to step out of this and feel like, I am so blessed to still be here. Yeah. Let me grab life by the bullhorns. Yeah. I've just got out of a Lamborghini. I've had the most amazing day. I've had the most amazing time. What can I do next? Yeah. And, you know, get other people excited about that. When we share the media, you know, we've had messages from people who have seen the videos, and that's inspired them to go do things. Wow. So there is such a knock-on and ripple effect, which I'd never imagined.
It's so much bigger than just the car, isn't it? Yeah. With all the people seeing it, hearing those messages, it's so empowering, I think, isn't it, for people?
Yeah, I feel honestly, just overwhelm is not even enough of an emotional word for it. It feels like the most beautiful thing in my mind, and knowing that we are able to do good feels just genuinely inspiring from what I would want for somebody else to feel. And I get so much joy out of it. I think if you have a toy like this and you have an empty passenger seat, it's a wasted opportunity to change somebody's life in my eyes.
100%. Yeah.
I think that you know, for a lot of business owners and for a lot of people who end up being in a fortunate position to own something like this, they have also probably sacrificed a lot of their lives, their family, their relationships to get to that position, and then all of a sudden find out that actually the material things aren't the things that they want. Yeah. And so it's great for therapy for them as well in that sense. So, it has lots of, in my eyes, it feels like this exciting driving therapy in the most beautiful way.
I think, that's so true. We'll pop a link into the description as well, because if you do, or you know someone that does have one of these amazing toys, and it can be any supercar, can't it? It doesn't just have to be a Lamborghini. You can drop Mark a message about it, because what an opportunity. You know, you're joining a great club of people that are doing good while also supporting other people as well. So I think it's fantastic.
No, I appreciate that.
I think, and I might be wrong, so do tell me if I am, did you also lose a friend to suicide a few months ago?
Yeah, so this was a really eye-opening moment for me, because for anybody who's close to me, knows I try and drum at the loudest beat about mental health and, you know, a mission against suicide, like what I stand for, what my grandmother went through. Yeah. And sadly 6 months ago, an ex-business partner of mine took his own life. And he didn't necessarily fit into, well, he didn't at all, into the demographic of people who it appeared that I'm helping. Yeah. And so for that, it really struck a chord to me that actually somebody who's within my kind of inner circle, I guess, that message didn't land. So this was another reason, I guess, in my mind, why JoyRide has made a lot more sense in one sense, because actually, yes, I'm going to continue with Granbohgini and taking people out, but actually, there's a lot of young men suffering with, with feeling suicidal, and he, fell into that camp, and I want this message to resonate, that it doesn't feel like we're not isolating anybody through this. Like, I don't care what you look like, I don't care where you're from, and, you know, you can all have challenges and all have tough times, and actually, can we make this universally involved for anybody that needs it? But yeah, it just makes you realise that there's never enough support. So whatever we can do, if your idea is, you've got a ridiculous idea, like I'm going to take somebody out in a supercar for to raise awareness for mental health and suicide, and loneliness and isolation, then great. You know, I don't care if you want to jump on a space hopper and bring people to the park, whatever it is, there is never enough help. No. And giving people more opportunities to talk openly, be around other people who are like-minded, but also being around people who have that thirst for life.
Yeah, it's so true. How, I guess you alluded to it, a bit, but how did it affect you? Because I think, like you were saying, you know, you're banging the drum, and then someone within your inner circle does unfortunately take their own life. You know, it must be really hard, I guess, to sort of come to terms with that. Especially like you were saying, you know, it wasn't that stereotypical person that you might think of. And we hear that so often. I think the first thing we hear from people is, I never saw it coming.
Yeah.
I never expected it to be them. And I think that's what's so important about it, isn't it? It can affect anyone. You know, it doesn't pick and choose, does it?
No.
Well, how was it for you? I guess, you know, 'cause it must have brought up stuff from your nan again, and just all of that in one is really challenging, I think.
Yeah, I think. Don't get me wrong. I'm a bit of an oddball. I think my genuine approach is to try and look at try and find a route towards a positive outcome, even in the worst case scenario. I don't know if that's just my military background and the kind of dark humour side of things, but so for me it was really like, it made me more driven to think we're not being big enough, and it was literally off the back of that where I was like, right, I want to create 1 million JoyRides so I can get to people like him as well. And so it just felt like it was more of a driver than a. Obviously, there was definitely an element of, you know, it was a lot to deal with. But I think with grief, I think you just need an output for it. And that's just how I work. But so my output was like, okay, that's, you know, try and prioritise quality time with my family. Try and make sure that we're living in the moment. Try and make sure that I'm grafting as hard as I possibly can into this, because maybe that we can get to that person. So I think it's where, if you find yourself in a position where you can't accept the grief and you try to just box it away, because I'm talking about it all the time and I'll have a conversation with you, and like you say, you was aware of this, I try and normalise those conversations around it. And there shouldn't be this, you know, this faux pas about or a stigma, around talking about suicide or loneliness or isolation or anything that, you know, struggling with mental health. These should be as normal conversation as going to the shops and Mum, what did you do last night for tea? It should feel as normal as that. And I'm, you know, if me talking openly about it, and we, you know, I saw some friends at the weekend and it was really nice actually, because for the first time in, I think, our entire friendship group, and I've been friends with these guys since I was 8. Our first time, we're all getting a bit older now. But we sat in the beer garden, and we literally asked each other how we are.
Wow, that's amazing. And
we sort of laughed at the start because it felt so unnatural. But we had the most amazing conversation, and. Like, you know, so there was a bit of jokes and a bit of laughter about it, but actually we got to the root cause of a couple of things that I had no idea about. And so, you know, now we literally left that conversation being like, we need to do that more often. That was beautiful. Wow. So
that's so special. I think, especially with men, I think so hard to open up. You know, I'm like with my own friends. You know, I preach it; it's my job. but to have those open and honest conversations are still so hard. I think it makes you feel quite vulnerable, even though you're with friends. Like you said, I think having that laugh and a joke just helps get through it.
Yeah.
That's how I deal with things anyway, just making a joke of it.
Yeah.
But I think doing it in a way around mental health can really help. It doesn't have to be, serious conversation, does it? It can be light-hearted, just to open up, I think. And yeah, I think that's so special to hear.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, and I genuinely, I love that abstract approach of if somebody say saw the video that we did where we took this beautiful lady Betty, I took her out in the car for the day, and we I just decided to kind of spur of the moment, decided to go and play knock door run with her, and she's 84, bless her. And she absolutely loved it, and it was the most amazing fun. And I asked her at the end, I was like, how alive do you feel? And she was like, oh my God, I feel amazing. But if somebody sees that, you wouldn't necessarily draw the correlation between that and actually we're trying to be here for pro mental health. But I love that because it's disguised in a really beautiful way, but it provokes a conversation. I had a message off the back of one of my videos from a friend who hadn't seen his grandma for a year, and he sent me a picture of him in his living room with her.
Oh wow!
And I was like,
that's
amazing.
So lovely. Yeah. I think it's that power, isn't it, that this can have. I think sometimes, especially where we struggle as a team, is we don't always have, stuff like this to be able to share those messages, and that's why it's so powerful that we all do work together. That mental health is all of our responsibilities. We all have it. We all have ups. We all have downs. So why don't we address it? If you broke your arm, broke your leg, you'd go and get help, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But if you're feeling low, people tend to just bottle it up. And I think by, like you were saying, just opening up in whatever way feels comfortable for you. Like you were saying, in the beer garden, I think that's a place men feel safe. I feel safe, you're having a pint, having a chat, you're a bit more relaxed. And it's just a great way, I think, isn't it, to be able to support each other through stuff.
Definitely, mate. I mean, so I don't know if you kind of feel this, but this is certainly something that I felt, because for a lot of people, and I genuinely, for anybody who's listening, I think you should try this because I think it's such a great space. But if there is a tough conversation that you need to have with somebody, go in the car.
Yeah.
And this is where, the JoyRide for me, and I keep saying about driving therapy, because we're distracted by everything that's going around. I'm not having to look at you in the eye, which feels really personal. And we can just, our senses are kind of overloaded anyway, but it takes down a lot of the barriers. Now,
100%.
And that's kind of where, I'll do, as an example, we'll go for, we'll go for a little drive, and I'll say, how's your morning been? How are you feeling? Then I'll open it up a little bit, and then I'll have some, a bit more of a. So, when was the last time you felt like that?
Oh, never. Oh, the dream. It's just a dream come true. Oh, yeah.
But you can really then dive into that.
Yeah.
Okay, I've not felt that alive in years.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's lots of exciting ways. Don't get me wrong. It's not everybody's got a Lamborghini, and I'm well aware of that. But
I think any car though can, like you were just saying, like we were saying earlier, sat by side, we're looking forwards, we're paying attention to other things, and I think it just makes that conversation flow so much better.
Yeah. Do you want to go again?
Yeah, I want to go again. Oh, literally childhood dreams just come true. I've been telling so many of my mates, I am so, and they obviously know how much I love cars, and it just brings back just that pure joy inside, doesn't it? That I don't think you have often, do you? You don't have that adrenaline, just joy of,
And the look on your face is every reason why I do this.
Yeah, it's so special. I think, we've all had tough times. I think, 5-6 years ago, I tried to take my own life, and I've spoken really open about, how difficult that time was. And I think if I'd seen stuff like this, what other people are doing, it'd have helped me, I don't think, even get to that place. I think, not feeling alone and knowing that you're not. So I I really just respect what you're doing. I genuinely think it's just amazing. You know, we know one shoe doesn't fit all. You know, we can't be following the same model of what's happening at the minute. I think stuff like this is really going to break the barriers, make people listen, and I think change the platform of how mental health is sort of delivered.
Oh my God. I mean, if together we can have any level of impact and ripple on that,
100%.
that would be...
I really think it will, yeah. I really think it will, because...
And I mean even together, as in like this conversation, you know, if people...
100%, yeah. This, you know, will hopefully reach people. And, you know, in our other episodes, you know, we've had lovely messages from people just hearing what someone else has gone through, or, you know, that support that they're not alone and stuff. I think it's just really nice to be able to, you know, give that to people. You know, we're not, I guess, chasing numbers. It's not what we're for. We'd rather it go to less people that will really impact.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this so nice, that we don't have to worry about hitting so many thousands of people, you know. It's about the moment it sort of makes for that one person or whatever.
Do you think from your side, almost going back to your personal experience, I guess, how much do you think prevention has to play in? Because from somebody who gets to that position like you and I assume that far down the line, there's very few people who are here to have this stuff.
Yeah, I think I was really lucky that I was very, you know, I was driving to go, you know, and take my own life, and my brother just rung me at that last minute. He never rings me, ever. And he just rung me and said, "Are you alright? Like, you're weird. Like, what's happened?" And that was just enough I needed just to snap me out of it and be like, you know, I'm not by myself. Yeah, it was just, you know, one phone call, like one moment in time. Why prevention is so key in terms of people just being able to spot those signs. Like, he didn't really notice anything. He just noticed I was just being a bit weird.
Yeah, just like something's off.
And and that's where prevention comes in it. You know, whether it's, you know, one of our biggest things is being able to train people up to have the skills, but also that awareness raising, you know, those small things people can do to look after their own well-being, those small questions people can ask, because it can just save lives. And I think, you know, you could be driving down the road, someone could see the car, be like, what's that? Instagram it, see what your message is. You know, they could be struggling, couldn't they?
Yeah.
And that could be enough to make them delve a bit deeper.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important that we do branch out. You know, stuff like this, or, you know, play more sport, like I wasn't exercising, you know, just stuff like that.
Yeah, it all kind of gets on top.
It gets on top, doesn't it? And I think that's why this can really have that impact.
I mean, honestly, thank you for feeling brave enough to talk about that. Because I think, and again, I'm so pro that, because I think it's important people tell those kinds of stories where they realise that actually it doesn't need to get that far.
Yeah.
And, you know, being vulnerable enough, but also being really brave to be able to have those conversations. But I mean, this was where, I don't know if this is going to be any use to you whatsoever, but we've so on the new website, like I say, if there's anybody who wants to nominate somebody, we've made it like a super slick funnel so people can frictionlessly add people onto the database, and where we're creating a wait list where we'll try and find drivers located close by.
Yeah.
And if, you know, and because of the 2 years of asking all of these questions, that also, I don't know if anybody will ever want to even buy this, but it was a game that, so in the car now when we go out on interviews, we take out a pack of our card game, which is called Cards on the Table. And it's basically the kind of list between the 200 questions that I wrote down of all the things I wish I'd asked my nan over the last few years.
Oh wow!
We put it into this like game that is basically, you stick it in your glove box, and on your journeys, you can have more meaningful conversation. But that kind of
amazing.
Helps fuel, like, you know, what we do. So
we'll pop a link to. I'll have a look at that as well. That sounds really, really amazing. Wow.
Thanks, man.
I guess just to wrap things up, what are some of those questions you really wish you could have asked her to start with, and then following that, for anyone that might be feeling down, or anyone that, you know, may have lost a loved one through suicide, what sort of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think what I'd love to do is, and certainly on a few of these bits, is if you ever wanted to do like a live Q&A session,
so cool.
we could do that for sure. I'd love to sit for an hour or two.
Sick. Yeah.
Just talk to people about that.
Yeah.
I think wherever somebody is impacted by mental health, there has to be an initial ignition point.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to bring it back to car analogies.
No,
but somebody needs to make a leap of faith to whether it's them, the person who's struggling with mental health, or whether it's somebody who's close by as a family is concerned about it, has to make the choice to make have a conversation or reach out to somebody like yourself, somebody like us, wherever it is. And and if it's somewhere where they need more professional help, we can put them in touch with the right people.
Yeah.
But I would just beg and plead that if you are ever feeling like you've lost your way, that there is always another route.
Yeah.
And it may look completely unattainable. It may feel so far from reach of reality of where your life is right now, but believe me, you can get there. And just do not make a permanent solution to a transient problem.
Yeah, that's such a good quote, I guess. It's so true, isn't it? So true.
Yeah.
Last one from me. If you could give one message to your nan, looking back on it, what would you just love to say to her?
Oh man, that's so tough.
It's hard, isn't it?
God, there's so many. I mean, I would love to just give her a cuddle and just tell her how much I miss her. I would, if she was here today, I would love to give her a cuddle and say, I think I would go and do the things that I said I would do.
Yeah.
There was no reason why I couldn't have took her out in a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And that sounds ridiculous, but that's just I promise. Like, I could have done that.
Yeah.
And I've got to live with that. But I would go and do the things that I know would have helped.
Yeah.
And I think I would try and be a bit more forceful around the conversations around doing things.
Yeah.
And in the nicest way. I don't think, dragging anybody to therapy necessarily, but as in, I would probably just want to say that she isn't invisible and she is heard.
Yeah.
And just be. If you can have a conversation with somebody and ask who, what, how, and why questions, and don't give them 15, 20 seconds. This is how we play our game, but have time to think about your answers, but only ask questions that are open-ended questions, and try not to interject with your own experiences in those moments. You will have the most amazing conversation with people, and you'll be blown away with where it can go.
Wow.
Like I say, in an hour's conversation with somebody, a complete stranger in the car, by the end of it, they're telling me things they won't tell their family members.
Yeah.
And I find that staggering, but that happens a lot.
Wow.
And so and these are conversations I'd love them to have with their family members. We'll never interject on those, but as in, I think I'm just really trying my best to be a better listener, and be a better active participant in a conversation. Because for years I would be like, I assumed making a real connection with somebody was, you'd say, oh, I go to the gym, and I'd be like, oh, I went to the gym once. Oh, we're friends now. Because we've both been to the gym. And so I try and tie it back to an experience or something that I'd done. And actually, you're sat there going, well, that's brilliant, but we were talking about me. And I mean that in and I think it's like, oh yeah, no, let's go back to the gym I was talking about. So I think there's a lot more we can do on things like that, and that would be something I'm learning. I'm definitely not perfect at it. I still definitely jump in with some of the experiences I've had, but I'm trying to focus more on.
Yeah, I know we're going to wrap it up. I've just got one. Has all of this, I guess, strengthened your relationships with your family? With your kids, with your wife, with your mum? even though it's been tragic, do you think it's not made you a better person, but yeah, like made those relationships more meaningful and closer?
Yeah, I think there's a worry sometimes that you can go too far with living in the moment. In the sense of, actually, you can be trying to think, oh God, I need to do something so amazing every day, like driving a Lamborghini, and actually, you just don't.
Yeah.
I have the most beautiful moments when I take my girls to the park on the swings.
Yeah.
And it's trying to be present in that. But I do think that, certainly from my mum and wife and the kids and friends, it's caused us all to ask better questions and be there for each other.
Yeah.
I think it was always a really tight knit, but the one thing that it's led to for me is I want to leave a legacy for my children, which is you can be a really good person. You can be, you can have a good heart, and you can do well in life, and you can have a massive impact on a lot of people, or even just a small group of people. And there is no right or wrong reason. Actually, just when you go and buy a coffee, asking how their day was. It's the smallest of things. And so I try and raise my daughters to be, just aware of that. Not chase things that don't mean anything. Yeah. For me, the promise around having a Lamborghini with my nana was because I thought that this was what success was.
Yeah.
And actually, it's got nothing to do with it. As I've found out from speaking with lots of millionaire business owners who have the cars, that's not the point of happiness.
Wow, that's so lovely. I really just appreciate, one, what you're doing, and two, for taking the time to be able to talk to us, because it's just, I don't know, it's just so inspiring. I think so inspiring and really heartwarming to see what else is being done out there. So yeah, I really appreciate it. For everyone that's listening, we'll pop all the links in that we've spoken about regarding signing someone up to be involved, signing up if you've got a supercar, Instagram, all of those sort of links as well. We'll pop in the description, along with a few bit of support options available just for anyone that may have been affected by sort of the conversations we've had. So yeah, no, really appreciate it, Mark. Thank you. And yeah, don't forget just to like and subscribe to the podcast so more people can be aware of sort of what we're doing. So yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thanks.